I want to talk about why Detroit Lions fans should be excited about DJ Chark. DJ Chark was signed to a 1-year deal worth $10 million during free agency. This was one of my favorite free agency signings, and I think it's probably the most underrated. Because for Detroit, you're getting a pretty good deal. You're signing him to a 1-year prove-it deal. He is a former second-round pick. He was drafted in the second round by the Jaguars out of LSU in the 2018 NFL Draft. He's 6'4", either 210 pounds or 198 pounds. I don't know how much the dude weighs because the websites are all over the place. Some websites have him at 198. Some websites have him listed as 210. But regardless, for the Lions, you're getting a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. DJ Chark was a Pro Bowler in 2019. He had 73 receptions, 1,008 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns on 118 targets, and was averaging 13.8 yards per reception. And when he's able to stay healthy and when he's on the field, he is a really good wide receiver run. And I think for the Detroit Lions, you are going to be pairing him up with TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then when Jameson Williams is able to get on the field, you're going to have a really good wide receiving core that Jared Goff is going to be throwing to. And I think for DJ Chark last season, he got held back by Urban Meyer, and plus the offense with Trevor Lawrence was a big disappointment. But on top of that, he got his season cut short due to a fractured ankle that he suffered against Cincinnati, which ended up ending his 2021 campaign and ended up ending his career with Jacksonville. However, he was still able to make the most out of what was a bad situation. He caught 2 touchdowns. He had 7 receptions, 154 receiving yards. And last year was a little bit underwhelming. His 2020 campaign was a little bit disappointing as well. This was somebody who was a Pro Bowler the year before that. In 2020, he only caught 53 passes, 706 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and 13.3 yards per reception. And the Jaguars didn't really do him no justice because remember that season, they act as if they were tanking on purpose. Gardner Minshew had to miss a couple of games due to injuries, and then when he was able to come back, they didn't want to start him for some reason, so they were pretty much throwing in the towel. And DJ Chark came out and said that, listen, he was frustrated. He was really frustrated with the quarterback situation, and not only that, but Urban Meyer was just harping on the dude for no reason at all. He was saying that he needs to play more physical. I didn't really understand the criticism. The only thing DJ Chark really needs to do is to stay healthy. So if Detroit can keep him on the field and he can at least play 14, 15 games, that's a W. Because when he's on the field, he produces. Jared Goff is probably the best quarterback that he's had during his whole entire NFL career. Gardner Minshew isn't bad. Even though he's a backup for Philadelphia, he's a starting caliber QB. You have Jared Goff, who many people are trying to figure out if Jared Goff is the long-term answer at quarterback. Well, adding DJ Chark is going to help you figure out the answer to that question. Because Jared Goff was throwing to probably the worst receiving core in the NFL last year. Outside of TJ Hawkinson, he didn't really have anybody. Amon-Ra St. Brown had his moments, but he still was a rookie at times. So for Jared Goff, you're getting somebody who is a really phenomenal deep threat, has very good size. He's also a very good target inside of the red zone. You are getting what is essentially a true number 1 wide receiver. This isn't a fringe wide receiver 2. This isn't somebody that has to prove himself as a wide receiver 1. This is a legitimate wide receiver who can come in and be Detroit's best receiver day one this upcoming NFL season. I am really excited about what DJ Chark can do this year. I was really happy when Detroit signed him. I really was. And I wasn't expecting this, but I was telling many people before free agency started, I felt that whichever team signed DJ Chark, they were getting a bargain. And they only signed him to a 1-year deal for $10 million. So if he ends up balling out You can end up signing him to a longer term deal. He's still fairly young. He has a lot of football left in him. But if he doesn't play well or he can't stay healthy, it's only a 1-year deal. He'll end up being back on the market in 2023. So this is a really great signing. This was one of the most underrated free agency signings from free agency. And I didn't have the opportunity to talk about it during the time because I was so caught up with school and everything else going on in my life that I saw the signing and I've been waiting to talk about it, and I haven't gotten to it until this point. I'm really enthusiastic about DJ Chark, man. I'm a really big fan of his. I think the Detroit Lions got a really big steal by signing DJ Chark in free agency. But you Lions fans, let me know how you guys are feeling about DJ Chark. What are your expectations for him this year? I think if he's able to stay healthy and he can play at least 14 games this year, I think he's probably going to be second on the team in targets behind TJ Hawkinson. He'll probably have around 70-something receptions. I can see him having 900, maybe 1,000 receiving yards because he's a very good deep threat. He can stretch the field, has very good speed, plus his size. So probably around 900, 1,000 receiving yards. I can definitely see him having 6 touchdowns this year. So those are my projected stats for DJ Chark. That's how I expect him to perform this year. On top of that, if he ends up playing pretty well, that's going to take some of the pressure off of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then when Jameson Williams comes back, that's when things are really about to get scary, because then you're going to have to account for Jameson Williams' speed. And even if Jameson Williams hasn't played up to that point, defenses are still going to have to account for that. If you're a defensive coordinator, you're just not going to allow Jameson Williams to come out and have a coming out party against you. Anytime you have a wide receiver who has that kind of speed, you got to account for it. But DJ Chark is also really fast in his own right. Not as fast as Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams may be the fastest player in the NFL, but with DJ Chark and the speed that he has, his ability to stretch the field, and what Jameson Williams can do, I think for defenses, you're definitely going to be on high alert whenever he's able to come back with him and DJ Chark both on the field. And we can't forget about TJ Hawkinson. So this offense definitely gotten a lot better over the offseason. The wide receiving core definitely improved. I think that DJ Chark is going to be one of those signings that we're going to look back at the end of this season and say, dang, man, it's crazy. Nobody really talked about this at all. I think he can end up being a really good piece on that Detroit Lions offense.